Hello and welcome, you're watching NewsX and I'm Shivani Singh. For over a year, the state of Manipur has remained a site of profound instability, a complex, agonizing conflict that has challenged the very foundations of peace in India's northeast. But today, we are witnessing a significant tactical shift in the government's response. The Ministry of Home Affairs has just cleared the deployment of 2 elite battalions of the CRPF's CoBRA, or the Commando Battalion for Resolute Action, into the heart of the Manipur Unrest. And this is not just a routine troop rotation. This is the deployment of a specialized surgical instrument into a theatre of conflict that has defied traditional policing methods. Why CoBRA but? And why now? To understand this, you must understand the nature of the terrain and the nature of the threat. CoBRA was raised between 2008 and 2009 specifically to counter left-wing extremism, or what you call Maoist or Naxalite insurgency. They are the jungle warriors of the Indian security apparatus. They aren't your typical infantry. They are trained in guerrilla warfare. They specialize in operating in dense forest and rugged terrains. They are also intelligence-led operations that are conducted by CoBRA battalions. Their methodology relies on deep reconnaissance and precise intelligence-driven strikes rather than broad sweeping patrols. There's also the factor of asymmetrical combat. They are masters of the hit-and-run environment, capable of neutralizing armed groups that hide in the difficult geographical pockets of Manipur's hills and valleys. Now in Manipur, the conflict is no longer just about clashes in the city streets. It involves armed militant groups operating in the periphery, groups that thrive in the shadows of the state's challenging landscape. CoBRA is being sent precisely to flush out those shadows. There is a larger strategic context to the move as well. For years, the federal focus was dominated by the mission of a Naxal Mukt Bharat, a Naxal-free India. The numbers tell a story of immense success. In 2014, the Red Corridor was a sprawling network across 126 districts in the country. By 2025, that number had been slashed to just 11. With the mission to eradicate left-wing extremism by March 31st, 2021, this is nearing completion. The government now has the breathing room to pivot its most elite assets. Now the Red Corridor is effectively being neutralized, and the professional acumen that was used to reclaim the forest of Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand is now being rerouted to the frontiers of the northeast. This isn't just moving troops. It is the repurposing of a battle-hardened, specialized unit to tackle the most intractable security challenge currently facing the country. Now, critics might ask, can commandos solve a deeply entrenched ethnic conflict? Well, the answer clearly is no, but they can create the conditions for peace, and that's what's of utmost importance right now in Manipur. By neutralizing the militants who profit from chaos and by restoring a sense of leak-proof security in the vulnerable stretches of the state, the CoBRA battalions provide the space for the civil administration to breathe. They are the enforcement that allows the dialogue to resume. Now, the situation in Manipur remains deeply volatile. It is defined by a persistent ethnic conflict between the Meitei and the Kuki communities that has effectively partitioned the state into segregated zones separated by security patrolled buffer zones. Now, this underlying tension erupted into renewed tragedy on April 7, 2026, when a suspected rocket attack on a residence in the Bishnupur district claimed the lives of 2 minor children and left their mother critically injured. This was an act that triggered widespread protests and further security lockdowns. Compounding this internal crisis is a growing alarm regarding the role of external actors. Security agencies have increasingly documented evidence of foreign nationals and cross-border networks providing logistic support, training and operational coordination to armed groups, suggesting that the conflict is being exploited by forces beyond India's borders to sustain and escalate the instability. Now the centre is signalling that it is no longer willing to allow the status quo to persist. With these battalions drawn in from their existing roles in West Bengal and in Assam moving in, the message to those who think that the law of the land can be challenged by the armed force is clear. The state is deploying its finest tools to ensure that normalcy is not just a request but a mandate. We will continue to track the impact of the deployment on the ground in Manipur. Stay tuned to NewsX for more.